And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be introducing the concept of the core channels of information marketing. And we're doing this because we're going to go into each level of these channels, but I want to introduce them first before we really get started. And, uh, and so we've already talked about the Dream 100 and really starting to reach out to those people who are going to basically, whether directly or indirectly, help you to bring traffic, to what it is that you are doing, whether it is your offers or even just to your content in order to get started. So let's dive into the core channels of information marketing. And so in so doing, we're going to start talking about this in a couple of different baskets. The first is what I call the talking channel. And this is basically where we are talking to the people who are going to be either on our list or in our market. What do we mean by talking? And we can do a talking channel in text, audio, and video. So when I say talking, typically what we're talking about is the kind of information that you are delivering in a podcast. A podcast, typically you're not teaching. You are kind of informing. You are talking about things. So this is not where you're really trying to get someone to learn something different. Although, any podcast you do, people are going to learn from it. What we're really trying to do is to talk to people. We're trying to connect with them on a talking channel. You can do it on what's called a vlog. So in other words, you can do it by podcast, but you can also do it on a YouTube channel in what's called a vlog or a vlog. And basically this is where you just fire up the camera and you're just talking to people, whether you do it whether you do it in a PowerPoint video, but typically this is where you're going to be talking to people face to face. Now, podcasting, people aren't going to actually see your face unless you do something like, Facebook Live or YouTube Live, but you're basically in a podcast reaching people on iTunes. You can do that in social media. Maybe you're going to do some kind of Facebook Live. Now, again, what are we doing? We're talking to people. We're discussing things. And of course, you can also do that on a blog. So if you consider your talking channel to be one aspect of reaching out to the people that are going to be your customers or reaching out to the people that are going to be your prospects, you should also have a training channel. And this is typically, you're going to be doing this by audio and video. Now, again, you should be doing this in addition to your talking channel. Now, I'm not saying that, you're going to give up your podcast or your vlog. I'm saying you need to have a select period of time where you're going to teach people something. So a training channel. And typically, we're talking about something like we're doing now on a webinar, or we're talking about some kind of virtual summit. But basically, you are showing people something and you're showing them how to improve on something, right? You need to have a channel that does that. There is also what I call the transitioning channel. This is where we move from talking and training into selling. And this is where we have maybe a webinar, but this is a sales webinar. So in other words, we're not necessarily doing teaching on this webinar. Excuse me. What we're doing on this webinar is we are basically trying to show people how they can get better at something only so that we can make the sale, right? So we might have a sales article in the very same way. So in other words, somebody comes to your page, they're not necessarily fully just looking for information. We're going to give them enough information for them to make a decision. So again, the transitioning channel is a way of moving people from information to what it is we want them to buy. We're also talking about your sales emails and newsletters. So yes, we're going to give people value in our emails. We're going to give value to people in our newsletter. But at the same time, though, we want to have a channel where we are moving people to the sale. So yes, it's content. Yes, it's information. But we have a purpose. We have a goal in mind for our transitioning channel, and it is to move people to the sale. We should also have what is a teaching channel. Now, again, you can do this in video, audio, and text, and this is going to be our information product. So in other words, if somebody comes to your training, they should not expect to get what you have learned over the course of years, right? You shouldn't charge people for that. What you should be charging people for is the information that you have learned over the years. You're really teaching people, and this is something that people should be willing to pay for. This is going to be your platform, and this is going to be where you're going to be publishing. When I say platform, I mean this is going to be your membership or your community, where you're also going to be publishing. Maybe it is a book. So basically, we have a teaching channel, a transitioning channel, a training channel, and a talking channel. All four of those things are going to be necessary for us to be able to eventually sell that information product, which is going to be our teaching product, right? So the thing about these channels is that they are regular and ongoing. So in order to make these into the platform builders, you're going to need to establish at least one of these on a regular basis, right? Now, it would be best if you had all four at the same time. Now, is that going to be challenging? Yes. However, if you're really trying to get something off the ground, I mean, think about this. You know, the most dangerous time on an airplane is not the landing, it's on the takeoff, right? And everything, when you get started and you're trying to take off, you're gonna encounter the most resistance. It's going to be the most difficult. But getting it up in the air is the part. Once you get it up in the air and you get it rolling, then you'll have momentum in order to complete it. So again, it's best if you have all four of those channels, on some kind of schedule naturally, but that you have all four channels, because all of them are going to serve you in your ability to generate paid content. That's the goal, right? That's going to be the goal. We want people to buy our product. We want them to buy our video products. These things are also going to establish us as the authority in our sub-niche. Now, none of these are likely to start out, right? Remember, these things are not going to start out where a bunch of people are going to come and a bunch of people are going to say, you know, hey, you're great, you're a great lady, you're a great guy, you know, we're just going to come just because. It's going to take a while for you to get these things off the ground and get them started. But what you've got to do is to do them on a regular basis, right? If you do them on a regular basis, you're going to find that over time you'll get traction, right? It'll also, you know, the other thing too is that you'll have something to share on social media, right? You'll have something real to share on social media. And also, this is going to give people an off-ramp, right? Because, I mean, social media is great, but you want to get them into your marketing funnel, and they need an off-ramp. And you've got these four areas. You're going to be giving them an off-ramp into your social media. Okay, so if this has been helpful to you in any way, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. I'm going to ask you to go to the plrshow.com/shout. If you're not subscribed to our daily newsletter where we talk about PLR, make sure you go to the plrshow.com. And also, for another day, you can still get hosting for your video learning center. You can do that at the plrshow.com/LCHSTNG. And finally, we have been talking about funnel building software, and you can still get that software at the plrshow.com/FSCRTCH.